What if I told you one Australian scientist made it possible for over 700,000 people to hear the world for the first time? This is the incredible story of Professor Graeme Clark, the man who turned silence into sound. Graeme Milbourne Clark was born on 16th August 1935 in Camden, a rural town in New South Wales, Australia. From an early age, Clark displayed a keen curiosity in science and mechanics, often experimenting in the family laundry and garage. He was deeply influenced by his father, who struggled with deafness caused by otosclerosis. Watching his father's difficulties with communication left a lasting impression on young Clark, and ultimately inspired his life's work. Clark attended the Sydney Church of England Grammar School, also known as Shaw School, where he excelled academically, especially in the sciences. He went on to study medicine at the University of Sydney, graduating with honours in 1957. His early interest in helping the hearing impaired guided his choice of specialisation. After his internship and early clinical work, Clark undertook advanced studies in otolaryngology, earning a Master of Surgery degree in 1968 and later a PhD in 1969. His research focused on electrical stimulation of the auditory nerve, a field that, at the time, was seen as fringe or even unrealistic by many medical professionals. In 1970, Clark became the Foundation Professor of Otolaryngology at the University of Melbourne, a position that allowed him to lead his own research initiatives. At the time, the prevailing view in the medical community was that electrical stimulation of the auditory system could not provide meaningful speech perception to the deaf. However, Clark was undeterred. He began assembling a multidisciplinary team of scientists, engineers, audiologists, and clinicians to tackle the challenge. Clark's central hypothesis was that a multi-channel cochlear implant could simulate the tonotopic organization of the cochlea, enabling the brain to interpret pitch and speech. This was a radical departure from previous single-channel devices, which had failed to produce intelligible speech. Years of laboratory work culminated in a breakthrough in 1978 when Clark and his team performed the world's first successful implantation of a multi-channel cochlear device. The patient, Rod Saunders, had lost his hearing as an adult and became the first person to receive the prototype at the Royal Victorian Eye and Ear Hospital in Melbourne. This was a historic moment in medical science. For the first time, a device had been successfully implanted that could restore a form of hearing to a profoundly deaf person. Clark's cochlear implant used multiple electrodes to stimulate different parts of the auditory nerve, allowing for a more nuanced perception of sound and enabling speech comprehension, something never before achieved. Following the successful trials in Australia, Clark and his team sought international approval and commercial backing. In 1982, they partnered with the Australian government and private industry to form Cochlear Limited, which would go on to become the global leader in cochlear implant technology. In 1985, the US Food and Drug Administration, or FDA, approved the cochlear implant for adult use, and in 1990 it was approved for children aged 2 and above. These milestones were critical in bringing the technology to the global market, and they marked the beginning of widespread adoption. Today, more than 700,000 people in over 100 countries have received cochlear implants, many of them children who, thanks to early intervention, have been able to develop normal speech and language skills. The development of the cochlear implant was not without its scientific and technical hurdles. One major challenge was how to convert sound into electrical signals that the brain could understand. Clark's team used a speech processor to break down incoming sound into frequency bands, with each band corresponding to a different electrode in the cochlear array. The cochlea itself posed anatomical challenges due to its small size and delicate structure. Clark's team had to devise a way to insert the electrode array safely without damaging the cochlear nerve or surrounding tissues. They developed a flexible, biocompatible electrode that could be surgically threaded into the cochlea with precision. Another innovation was the external processor and microphone, which could be worn behind the ear. This design made the device more practical and accessible for everyday use. In 1986, Clark founded the Bionic Ear Institute in Melbourne, now known as the Bionics Institute, a world-class research center dedicated to advancing neural prosthetics and biomedical engineering. Under Clark's leadership, the institute expanded into new areas such as deep brain stimulation for Parkinson's disease, bionic eyes for the visually impaired, and neuromodulation therapies for epilepsy and chronic pain. Clark's vision extended beyond the cochlear implant. He foresaw a future where electronics and biology would converge to repair or replace damaged human organs and systems. Clark's journey was also deeply shaped by his Christian faith. He often spoke about the role of faith in motivating his desire to serve humanity and improve lives through science. For him, it wasn't just about tackling technical or medical challenges. He truly saw his work as a moral calling. In his book, Science and God: Reconciling Science with the Christian Faith, Clark explores the fascinating intersection of faith and reason. He argues that the wonders of biology and the achievements of science don't need to be at odds with spiritual belief. Clark's contributions have been recognized around the world. Among his most prestigious honors are the Companion of the Order of Australia, which is Australia's highest civilian honor, awarded in 1999. He became a Fellow of the Royal Society in the United Kingdom in 2004. That same year, he received the Prime Minister's Prize for Science in Australia. In 2013, he was honored with the Lasker DeBakey Clinical Medical Research Award in the USA, often considered the American Nobel. More recently, in 2024, he received the IEE Medal for Innovations in Healthcare Technology. He was also named Australian of the Year in the Senior category in 2001. Additionally, he has been awarded numerous honorary doctorates and accolades from universities and scientific organizations across Europe, North America, and Asia. Clark has written extensively about his research and personal journey. His books and articles serve both as technical references and as inspirational narratives for future scientists. Sounds from Silence is an autobiographical account of the invention of the cochlear implant. Science and God: Reconciling Science with the Christian Faith explores the harmony between his scientific work and his religious beliefs. I Want to Fix Ears. Inside the cochlear implant story is a more accessible account of the development of the bionic ear, particularly for younger audiences. Graeme Clark's work has changed lives in a profound and measurable way. His invention has restored hearing to hundreds of thousands of people who would otherwise live in silence. But more than that, he has opened the door to a new era of medical bionics, one where machines and biology can work together to restore lost human functions. His influence extends to the fields of education, ethics, and medical practice. He has mentored a generation of scientists and engineers, many of whom now lead their own research institutions around the world. He has also served on numerous national and international advisory boards in science, health, and education. Clark continues to advocate for accessible hearing healthcare, particularly in developing countries. Through the Graeme Clark Foundation, he supports global efforts to ensure that cochlear implants and related technologies are available to all, regardless of economic status. If you found this story as inspiring as we did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Because we're bringing more untold stories of Australians who changed the world.